Hey guys, it's Photo here, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to code a spigot plugin in Minecraft. So, first of all, what we want to do is we would want to get our Java JDK, or SE, or SDK, whatever you want to call it. Either way, you want to go to oracle.com, Java Technologies. You can literally just search it up, Java JDK 17, and click on the first link here. So once you click on here, you can scroll down, go to here, Windows 64 installer, and click on this bin.exe. Next, you want to go to jetbrains.com. Once you're at jetbrains.com, you want to go to developer tools, find your tool, and scroll down until you find IntelliJ Community Edition and click download free. Here, you can select your version, Mac OS or Linux, and press download and follow the instructions it gives you. Next, you'll finally need GitHub Desktop. This is a very important tool that I think almost all developers should download first. So to begin, you'd want to go to desktop.github.com and you'd want to download for Windows 64-bit. Also, you can also download MSI or get the Mac OS version. Hey, future photo here. And I forgot to mention that you will need to log into GitHub Desktop to get started. You can create an account on GitHub or follow the instructions that it gives you on the welcome screen. Now that you have all the tools that you need to begin the process, first you want to open up GitHub. In GitHub, you want to go to Add, Create New Repository, or it may show a button here saying Create New Repository. Either way, create new repository and name it whatever you want as long as it's not the same name as another repository that already exists in your projects. Next, you can ignore the description for now. You can ignore the local path unless you want to store all of your data into a certain path. Mine is stored in documents. You can ignore this, and you can ignore the get ignore and license unless you want to add a license. Next, you want to create repository. After that, you want to go to here, publish repository to GitHub, and click publish repository. You have the option here to keep this code private or public. I'm going to keep it public so that you guys can look at the source code. Next, you can choose organizations. However, I'm not going to be putting my project in any organizations. Next, click on publish repository. After waiting for it to publish, you can then begin. If you don't see open in IDE or IntelliJ, then you can click on options, external editor, and choose your preference. Here I'm using IntelliJ instead of Visual Studio Code. They also have the option to show the files of the repository in the Explorer and also view it on GitHub. But for now, we'll ignore that since it's not part of what we're learning today. Next, click on Open in JetBrains IntelliJ IDE. After, once IntelliJ or whatever your preferred ID has finished loading, you then want to click on your plugin file or your folder, click New, and click File. Here you want to type in pom.xml. This will serve as a Maven project since today we're going to be using Maven instead of Gradle. Keep in mind that I'm not saying in any way that Maven is better than Gradle. However, I'm more used to Maven than I am used to Gradle since I've been using it longer. It's all up to personal preference, so it's really up to you which one you use. However, for this video, I'm going to be using Maven. I have copied in some code from past projects that I'll be using for today. Here, you can see the model version, group ID, artifact ID, version, packaging, name, and so on and so on. This is probably the most important since it contains the compiler and the shade plugin, which is important if you want to shade in different dependencies into your project. Keep in mind that you should use Java version 17 since Minecraft servers do not support higher than Java version 63, which also is known as Java 18. So 17 is the latest version that you can use. First, we'll start with the group ID. This can be referred to as me.photo.example. This can also be replaced with a URL, for example, com.photo.example. For now, I'm going to be putting in me.photo.example. In artifact ID, this is basically like the name of the plugin. Here, I'm just going to place in example plugin. In version, You can put whatever you want, but usually we put in 0.1 or 1. Sometimes people add snapshot as so, but that's not needed. Next, packaging will be jar, since we're going to be packaging this project into a jar. Next, the name can be whatever you want, but for now we're just going to be naming it example plugin. Next, we can refresh, load it, and let it scan files index. Next, what we need to add is repositories and dependencies. I will be also copying and pasting the repository and dependency for Spigot, since I do not have the repository and dependency memorized by heart. Here, I've copied and pasted in the repository spigotmc.repo-repo and the dependency org.spigotmc spigot API. For today, we're going to be using 1.20.1 as I stated earlier, and it only supports Java 17 and not higher than that. Next, once we have our pom.xml successfully set up, we can click on New Directory and source main.java, New Directory, and source main resources. The resources is what will contain our plugin.yml, and also, if you want to add it, config.yml, but we will be covering that in another video. In the plugin.yml, you want to include a few things. First, we want to include the name of the plugin, which can now be example plugin, the main, which we can add in later, the version, we can put in 1.0, or we can put in 0.1 as we've shown in the pom.xml. Next, we can add commands, and here I'll just put this in for now, test, and description, a test command. There's a lot more different arguments that you can place. However, I'm just going to be using description for now, since I will not be covering all of the plugin.yml and all of the different things you can place inside of it. Once you have changed the plugin.yml to your liking, we can then go and click on Java and click New Java Class. Here, we put in a path, and we separate the path by dots. So we put in me.photo.example plugin.example plugin. Notice that this is upper camel case. This is one of the many ways that you can format your coding. For now, I'm going to be using upper camel case since it is the most popular. Once we have created our class, we can then extend Java plugin. This will let the server know that this is a plugin and that this is the main file of said plugin. We can then add the onEnable and onDisable methods. The onEnable is called whenever the plugin is enabled. So in here, you can get the logger and we can info that the server has started. The onDisable is called whenever the plugin is disabled. So in here, we can send a message that the plugin has been disabled. Also, please ignore that this says server and not plugin. That was a mistake. Now, since we've created our main, we can then link it up in here. We put me.photo.example plugin.example plugin. This is our path to our main file, which as you can see is right here. Next, we create our command, which is shown here, test. So we click on this, we click New Java Class, and we can add commands.test command. Keep in mind that all commands have to implement command executor. This is to let the server know that this is a command. Next, we can add in a private final example plugin. This creates an instance of the class, and we can add a construction parameter. Next, we want to import on command. This is implemented from command executor, and this certain method is called every time a player executes the command. And here, now, we can do some magic. So first, we want to check if the command sender is an instance of the player. This is important so that we don't mix up the player of the command sender, since it would cause many problems. Inside of here, we can then send the player message. I've decided that I will say, this is the test command. Now we can add an else statement, and we can send the command sender a message as well, and say, hi to console. It is also possible to add color code to your plugin by doing as so. Chat.color.translate alternate color codes. The first is the char character, and next you can follow it with your message. Here is a picture of all the available color codes that you can use. Just keep in mind that you want to replace this S symbol with the AND symbol, or whatever char character you put in here that you want to use. It is also possible to add color code to the console messages, however most consoles won't be able to colorize the text, so for now I will be ignoring that. Next, we must register our command in the main class. Here, we can do get command, the name of our command, and set executor to the new test command class. Also, we have to mention that you should add a .getignore. Here, it ignores different files that are not needed and would clutter your repository. Once you finish that, you can then build your plugin. To do that, you'd want to go into configurations, edit configurations, add new configuration, scroll down to Maven, click on it, and in run, put in clean and package. Then click OK, and you're ready to compile. To compile, click this green arrow button right here. Once it says finish exit code 0, you can then navigate to your target directory, and here's your finished jar file. I also forgot to mention that in your GitHub desktop, you will now notice that all these project files are here. You can add a summary, anything that you'd like. For now, I'm just going to say changes, and I'm not going to add a description. I'm going to commit to main and push origin. After you're done building your file, then you can then launch your test server. Here, I have a test server already set up, and I will now be covering how to create a test server. You can then navigate to your target, and you can press Ctrl X or Ctrl C. Then, navigate back to your plugins folder, and press Ctrl V or click and press copy. Now, you'd want to start your server, wait for it to load, and then join to test it out. Once your server has finished loading, you can then run /plugins to check if your plugin has registered successfully. You can then run /help example plugin, and here is our /test command. If we run it, we will notice that it is blue, since we set it to be aqua, pardon me, and it says this is a test command. And when we do in console, it says hi console. Congratulations on creating your first plugin. I hope this helped you out a lot. Please leave a like, subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments. Anyways, thanks for watching. Photo out.